Dem. Live life with the Man Dem.
Hello, this is the first ever episode of Man Dem. Man Dem is my show, I'm Kieran Callum, and it's a lot like Girl Dem, where I used to, or still do, interview women about dating and sex, but in Man Dem, I'm now interviewing the Man Dem. So, today's first man is my good friend Joe Elvin. So Joe, if you could pass me the camera.
What's up?
Hello mate, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Let's call out the black eye first. My main passion is boxing, so that's what's happened there.
Alright. To be honest, I wouldn't have noticed if you didn't tell me, and you still look beautiful and sexy.
Thanks, mate.
Always. So Joe, you're single, right?
Yes.
How long have you been single for?
Just over a year.
Yeah? And how did that come about?
How did it come about?
Yeah.
What? So I had a girlfriend and we broke up.
Oh.
It was very sad.
Yeah.
But being single is there's pros and cons to both, right? To being single and in a relationship.
Yeah. So, how do you find being single right now? What's it like for you? Going out, meeting women, dating, Tinder, etc.
I think living in London is maybe like one of the best cities to be single in. I mean, you know yourself, right? You're grinning. Just so many. I mean, I love like nightclubs, going out, so much to go and like places to go and date people and stuff like that. So yeah, definite advantages to like living in London as a single lad.
So, how do you normally meet your women? Like the women that you do meet, who you date, how does that normally come about?
Probably nightclubs. I'd say all but 2 or 3 of the girls I've slept with I've met in nightclubs. It's pretty, I don't know, is that normal? Probably not.
I'd say it's quite normal.
Yeah.
Alright, so now I've got
Depends
another
who you
question, right? So you're in a nightclub and you see a woman, you think this woman looks absolutely fit, she's hot, I really want to go over there and speak to her. So like, what do you do? What's your mindset? What?
Yeah.
How do you meet and seduce women?
So you might see a bunch of like dating experts and that on the internet with like the pickup line, or what do you say to get her interested. For me, I don't think that's really that important. I think you just gotta be having a good time, smile, and then just be honest. So if like, say she's got like she's really skinny, she's got a nice, well, I wouldn't tell her she has a nice bum, that's probably a bit too forward, but like say something you like about you, just be like, hello, my name is Joe, and I really like your whatever dress sense, your style. That sounds really simple, but I think it's more about like the vibe behind it, and just like, yeah, and then just go from there really. You shouldn't really overcomplicate things.
So what's interesting is like a lot of guys have techniques and strategies that they use and stuff,
yeah?
which usually, well, like a lot of guys will say, for instance, go in and like they might do a neg, where they will slightly, mildly, playfully insult the girl to let the girl know that they're a high status man that can get any woman he wants or something like that. And they might like deliberately not offer compliments because they don't want the girl to think that they're up her ass. So it's interesting the different way that you come about it, really.
Kieran, what I think, in my experience, right, and this is just my one bloke.
This is what we want.
Yeah,
Your experience.
personal experience.
Talk, mate.
The biggest like rejections that I've ever had, right, like in a club, is when you come in with some sort of like strategy. You said strategy, didn't you?
Yeah.
If you predetermine some clever line to say, like, I think girls fucking hate that. I really do. Like, if you come in with like some clever, like, if it seems like a can line that you maybe see before, in my experience, that really repels women. The best you can do, I would say, is if you just come in and it's natural. It's not, you're not strutting in to like pick her up. I don't think girls like that. I think there's a natural resistance to that. And if you're just having a good time and then you just say whatever's on your mind, for me, I think that's what works the best in a nightclub.
So when you meet a woman in a nightclub, say, do you want to sleep with her there and then, or are you just basically having fun with women who you're attracted to and seeing where the hell it leads? I guess what I'm saying is, like, you've met a woman in a nightclub, then how does that woman go from the nightclub to eventually ending up in your bed? How does that normally...
How does it work?
Yeah, how does that work? Yeah.
So it seemed like the first question was like, what's on your mind? Like, are you seeing that girl and then you're like, I want to take her home? Is that what you're asking?
I'm just basically saying, so like, just talk me through it. So you've met a girl in a nightclub. Have you taken her home that night usually, or do you like swap numbers at some point or whatnot and then agree to meet up later on? Do you text for a little while beforehand?
Honestly, a bit of both. But I think if, and you'll agree with me on this, because we were talking about it before, you get some girls like number in a nightclub, and like she could be like, oh, like so into you, right? Be so into you, like, oh, having the best time, like, oh, I promise, like, I can't come to yours tonight, like, I'm with my friends or whatever, but like, we'll definitely meet up for like food or something, right? And then, okay, we'll just swap numbers, and then you've got the number, right? And then you're like, yes, this is a dead cert, right? Like, this girl absolutely loves me. You text her the next day, like, who is this? Like,
Oh my god, I've had that happen so many times.
I mean, it's different with WhatsApp now.
Yeah.
So normally it's just like the the blue ticks
yeah.
and stuff. But I think it's such a disassociative environment, like a nightclub. So if I don't like to try and get girls' numbers in nightclubs, not that I don't want to see them again, and not that I definitely want it to be a one-night thing at all, but I think it can be super frustrating, right?
But if you don't get the number, how do you see them again?
Well, exactly. But yeah, so you would try and take them home that night, and then if you do a great job and you have a fun time after the club and then swap numbers, then I would say that's more likely to work out and you guys seeing each other again. Which is interesting, right? Because perhaps, so I've heard, some girls like, be careful how I say this, but like some girls will be like, oh, I'm not going to sleep with him on the first night, even though I really like him, because that'll give him the wrong impression of me, that I'm some sort of like hussy or something like that.
Have you ever had it happen where you've met a girl who you genuinely liked the girl, but you've slept with her, and then after you slept with her, she refused to talk to you ever again? Because I've had that happen to me. So I'm just wondering if that's happened to you, where you've actually slept with a girl too early and then it's ruined everything.
I'm sure that is a common thing. It's never happened to me. Sometimes it's like mutual, where it's just like, oh, that was fun for one night, but it's sort of like a mutual understanding of, but I'm sure it happens all the time. Like I said, it's happened to you. But back on the point, which I was trying to get to, I think it depends, and I'd like to get your opinion on this actually. Whereas for me, if a girl wants to, carry on like the adventure after the club, go home, and whatever happens, for me that won't affect my
The way you see
opinion of her, because in my experience, everyone has one night stands, man. Like, not everyone talks about it. Like, some people will probably disagree. You're like, no, I've never had one. But for me, it wouldn't change my opinion of the girl. And I think that's maybe a misconception. Because maybe this is what we're trying to get with these like Man Dem videos, right? Like misconceptions that women have about men.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It'd be good to get other people's opinions.
Alright.
But I don't think, me personally, having slept with someone too early has never changed my opinion of them negatively.
It never changes my opinion either. And to be honest, it bothers me that it often changes their opinion of me. As in, they think, oh no, I've slept with this guy, so now I can't see him again and blah, blah, blah. It's happened like a couple times and stuff. And like, there've been girls who I've genuinely liked, who have pretty much flat out refused to see me because we had sex too early, and it's actually like kind of hurt me. So it's kind of like now it's like, if I actually really like someone, like I probably shouldn't have sex with them too soon, because you know it can just fuck things up. But I've got a question for you though. Let's delve deep into the psyche of Joe. So you said that you have no techniques, no strategies, no game plan, etc. But what I'd like to know is, when you have sex with a girl, like, okay, for me as a guy, right? As a guy, if I have sex with a girl, I've never had sex with a girl because she just leapt on me without me doing anything. Actually, no, that's happened like once. That's happened like maybe once or twice. Every time I've ever had sex with a girl, it's been because I have been acutely aware of the fact that I'm the man, and that if I don't lead this situation forwards, nothing's gonna happen. And in fact, when I was younger, I was in loads of situations where, you know what, I actually could have sex with girls, but I didn't, because I was like brainwashed by Hollywood films that said, no, like never push a woman into something she's not comfortable with and all of that jazz, and you know, she deserves the right to choose and she'll let you know. And you know, I don't know if you've noticed, but you notice in Hollywood films, the woman always kisses the man first. Like on TV.
Never noticed.
James Bond is the only man who is allowed to be a man in the media. I swear to God, if you look, watch on a TV show, and like when a man and woman kiss for the first time, the woman always kisses the man first. And I saw stuff like that growing up, and then I wasn't like forceful or like forward with women. So as a result, I just wasn't having sex with any of them. So my question is to you: you're having sex with women, at least I believe you are.
Virgin mate.
How does that normally come about?
You know what, Kieran? I'm going to disagree with you.
With everything
there.
I said?
You were making a point that a man always like has to make it happen if we're talking about like one night stands in the club, right?
No, just sex in general.
Yeah, sure. No, I think if a woman is ready to have sex with a man that she's attracted to, she will give you the signs. They'll be subtle.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I agree with that completely, but what I'm saying is, she gives you signs, but she's not like placing a hand on you.
Sure, but as a man, it's your job to read the signs and then make it happen.
No, but I agree with you completely. I'm just basically, so what you're saying is then that you're looking out for signs that the woman is interested, and then you're moving forward based on those signs.
Yeah, is that not what you do?
It is, but I'm just clarifying for whoever's watching, really. So what sort of signs do women normally give that they're interested?
You see the cliche ones, like the playing with the hair, and then stuff like that.
You know, one I've noticed, they'll often say something to me like, oh, what are you doing tomorrow morning?
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Now at
first... That's a less than subtle one.
Yeah. Or I've noticed that if they touch you a lot, that usually, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready for sex, but it's a sign that they're feeling very, very, very close and like intimate with you.
You know what? For me, like girls in a nightclub, we were just talking about this. It's such a like hectic environment, right? So much going on. There's like friends, there's like DJs, there's just like smoke coming out the ceiling, right? So for me, a sign. She has a million reasons to leave, right? For me, a sign that she's interested. The only sign you need to really look for is she's still there, listening to your dumb jokes or whatever you're saying. For me, that's all you need to look for. Because, like I said, she has a million reasons to. She can just walk away like at any time and speak to like the dozens of other guys, girls, whatever she wants to do, man. So if she's choosing out of all those things to stay and listen to you, that's the only sign you should look for.
You know what? That's very true. I was on a date the other day, some point in the last month, and the woman I was on the date with wasn't giving me any sort of signs whatsoever that she even remotely liked me as a human being. Like, she honestly, I was like, does this woman even just think I'm an okay person? like she was giving me nothing. But then after a while, I thought, hold on, we've been together for 3 hours, and she's not asked to leave. She's actually still here. I was like, oh my god, this is actually going extremely well. She's just not very expressive. So yeah, that's true. Wise words, Joe. Wise words.
I think that's a topic you could delve deeper on, as far as like, it's understandable that you talk about women who give you like a hard time when you're just nice and like funny, being like a gentleman or whatever the whole time. Doesn't mean they hate you. Like they have to. I think screen is the right word. Yeah. They have to screen you up. They have to make sure that you're a man. Like if they just make it super easy for you and just like laugh at all your dumb jokes and just nice and flirting the whole time. Yeah, they do that sometimes, but especially in like a nightclub, when they've probably already had like 19, 20 guys come and flirt with them every weekend, which, would you agree, is quite normal, probably?
Yeah,
like,
most likely.
Yeah, in certain clubs anyway.
Is there anything about dating with women that confuses you or upsets you?
No, nothing. I understand it all.
Yeah?
No, yeah, of course.
You completely got your shit together, right? 1000%. To the viewer, you are now looking at the Grand Master of dating, just so you know.
Absolutely. How are you doing? There's quite a broad question, Kieran. There's probably a lot that a lot of men don't understand about women, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, I understand everything. Is there anything you don't understand?
It's not something I don't understand. I do understand it, but I think it would be good if women understood it, which is that I believe that, say, as a guy, right, you go out and you approach women and stuff, and they basically say yes or no. So it's like you make the approach, and they say I accept or I refuse. It's one of the two. Personally, I feel that's a very privileged position to be in, because it's like there are so many guys who are scared of doing those approaches, and as a result live lives of relative unsatisfaction. And women live lives of relative unsatisfaction as well. I'm not saying they have it easy, but in this situation I believe that they do, because it's like I say, they're in a position where guys come to them and they get to choose. Now, what a lot of women complain about is the fact that guys keep coming up to them and stuff like, oh my god, these guys that don't leave me alone, blah 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 blah. And you know what, I think when I hear women say that, I think to them, I understand what you're saying and I can see how that would be annoying, but it's actually preferable to being in a place where nobody will ever come to you unless you will go out and make it happen yourself. And you're actually quite lucky in that regard, so just appreciate it, because you know, it's a nice thing.
So my thoughts on that, like you're right, it's in that environment that we're talking about, like bars, clubs or whatever, it's down to the man to like approach the woman and get things started, right? There will be maybe some women watching this video and they're just like, I don't get approached by men ever, right? And then what can they do? Like, it's tough, it's really tough. So I'd personally rather be in a position where at least like it's down to you to make the approach and try and make things happen, rather than perhaps there's some women out there who aren't lucky enough to be getting approached by like we were saying, like, oh, all women get approached.
No, okay, there are women out there who never get approached, but to be fair, what I was saying was about the women who complain about being approached. That's my point. The women who never get approached, they'd love to get approached. That's the point. It's like, I wish somebody would approach me. But I'm saying, like, the women who get approached and complain about it, it's like, you know what? That's a pretty pleasant position to be in. That's kind of where I'm making.
Speaking to them, right? Because I'm not saying I'm not one of these, but a lot of people in clubs are like idiots. Like, there's a lot of creepy. You know, it's not. It must be tough dealing with people you don't want to talk to, just coming up and feeling like entitled to speak to you. Like, I totally get why they would complain about that.
No. I do appreciate the fact that there are going to be loads of guys who are arseholes and stuff, and it's like, do you want this person to speak to you? That is true. However, the fact of the matter is this, it's like, many of the women who complain about guys approaching them, if you basically turn them into an alternate reality where it's like, okay, no one's approaching you now, go out and do the approaches.
What they all say is like, I'm not just like, girls go out to have fun, man. They're not like guys. Not a lot of guys in nightclubs, right? They go out to have fun with their mates, and if they meet a nice guy, great.
You know what, I agree with
not,
you.
So
but
for these, what they will say to what the point you're trying to make in the video is like, they're just trying to have fun with their girls, and then these girls, like, they don't want 20, well maybe they do, I don't know. They don't want 20, 25 men that they don't want to speak to coming up and interrupting them. They just want the one guy who they like to speak to them,
I've got
I would say.
2 things to say to that. Number one,
Yeah.
girls do go out to meet guys. Like they do. Don't get me wrong, I don't think they like as savagely go out to meet guys as like guys go out to meet girls, but like they do. Like they'll get dressed up, and if they're single, they're kind of hoping that they're going to meet some awesome guy who's going to sweep them off their feet, and then they'll have a fantastic time with them. We'll wait till this thing's done. All I'm saying is, and just so we're clear, I make a concerted effort to be as fair and impartial as possible with these sorts of interviews. So I don't want to be bashing anybody. What I'm saying is there are pluses and minuses attached to being male and female. And one plus that is attached to being a woman is that, you know what? You're in a position where, for the most part, guys are coming to you and you get to pick and choose. And most people, not even men or women, most people are scared of approaching members of the opposite sex. Most people. It's not even like most men are scared. Like most men are scared anyway. Like every time I approach a woman, I feel like a burst of anxiety and stuff. I do it every time I go out and do it, but I still feel it and stuff. And like I've done it loads. And it's like, so your average woman who is complaining about guys approaching her, yes, guys approach her in their arseholes, I get that. That is true. But also look on the positive side and just realize that, you know what? People do actually come and like you get to choose. And if the boot was on the other foot, all of a sudden you'd be like, fuck, shit, now I've got to go out and do this. This is actually quite hard. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's another misconception we could maybe talk about, which you addressed on your blog, the 100 Women in 50 Days blog. The fact that a lot of men are actually really anxious and nervous about approaching women. Did you find, because I know a lot of women read that blog and watched your videos and that, you find a lot of women were surprised to hear that?
Yeah, very surprised. Yeah, a lot of women were very, very, very surprised. A lot of women assume that men don't have any fear. And I guess it's because they like the idea of men who don't have fear because that's what they're attracted to. So they assume that that's what like men are like. But nah. So yeah, a lot of women were like, oh gosh, that, yeah, I didn't really get that. And I made a point of spelling that out in my blog because I wanted it to be known that it was actually like a real thing about overcoming fear and not just like, yeah man, let's go out and let's meet some chicks, yeah.
So to add to that, what I said about when men like come over, right, and they have like some like pickup line that they've pre-thought of, some like or whatever they do that seems just a bit preempted, right? And how women hate that, in my experience, most women hate that. Maybe they don't really like a lot, like they don't know what else to do. Like, I'm nervous, so I'm just gonna do this line that worked that worked once before. Like
that's basically it. Like you don't know, like you know. So you're a guy. You got loads of frailties, insecurities, blah blah blah. You know that woman who you like the look of isn't gonna speak to you unless you speak to her. It's not gonna happen, right? But you don't know what to say. But you also know that you're supposed to be this cool guy.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, how would a cool guy act?
Yeah.
And then you do what you think a cool guy is supposed to be.
What I imagine, if there are lots of women watching this video, they'll be screaming at the video like, just say hi, just be normal. Just say hi, my name is Joe, or whatever your name is. Why do you have to come and put on like this big song and dance? Do you think maybe a lot of men think that that's not enough? It's not enough. if they're just going to come over and say, hi, my name is blah, 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 that's not going to be enough to win this hottie over. So think they have to try and put
do you know why it won't be
dance.
enough? It won't be enough because the guy's not enough. Because in his head, he knows that he sucks. He knows that he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's actually what it is. So that guy who goes up to the girl and says, oh, you're right, darling, how's it going, darling? Yeah, you're right, my name's Dave. Yeah, I'm fucking awesome.
Putting on like a front.
Yeah, that's it. Because he knows that he's lacking and stuff. And if you know you're a piece of shit, let's take, right, you're a woman, I'm a guy. No, you're a guy, I'm a woman. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's right. You're the man, I'm the woman. You're the picture, I'm the receiver. But, so you see me in a club, right? But you know that you're a piece of shit. You know in your core, you just actually know you're not a good person because people kept telling you. You grew up and people saying like, who the hell do you think you are, and etc. So you know that you're actually somewhat lacking, and that really and truly, if I saw the real you, I wouldn't be interested. But at the same time, you don't want to die alone. So, and you're interested, you see me and you like the look of me. You like my chocolate skin and stuff, you know?
I like your beard.
You like my beard.
Your stubble.
Well, if I'm a woman, I'm assuming I don't have
yeah.
a beard. Maybe I do. Okay, you like women with beards and stubbles and chocolate skin. But you don't want to die alone. So what do? You have to pretend to be something that you're not. Which is actually really sad.
Is that a question? Or
It's not really it's a statement. It's actually, yeah, it's really sad. So it's kind of like the woman's got her insecurities as well. She's not perfect and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so you got the guy, he's really insecure about who he is as a person. The woman's insecure about who she is. The guy makes the approach. He acts like he tries to act like James Bond. She thinks, what the fuck's this loser doing and stuff. Or, you know, she thinks that he's really arrogant and stuff, so she rejects him. And it's just like spiral, a cycle.
So what can they do? These men who think they're not good enough for a woman.
They can go to YouTube and type in real social dynamics. That's what they can do. Alright? Like, RSD Max, RSD Julian, just watch those videos and just, there you go, take it from there.
Okay.
And you know what, have a look at my 100 women in 50 days challenge. And also, actually, you know what they really should do? You know what they really should do? They should go to your website, shouldn't they?
Yes, I have a website. It's a dating website. The main feature of it is www.thelondondater.co.uk. The main feature of it is for couples, because you can get emailed 7 date ideas in London, and you get emailed that for free every Monday. But there's a few, because I'm a writer, there's a few blog posts like about dating and the stuff that we've been talking about actually on there as well. So.
Alright. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
I'm sure there's plenty we need to discuss, but it depends how long you want to...
Actually, no, we've been about 30 minutes. I think that is good. Good for a first one. But you
fine
know,
by.
this can be like a regular thing though. It doesn't have to be just one. You know, we can do extra topics and stuff, you know? Yeah.
The
First
Man
date
Dem.
ideas for the Man Dem. Yeah. But anyway, so Joe, it's been great chatting to you.
Thanks, mate.
And yeah, this is us in the middle of Trafalgar Square. And you've been watching or listening to episode number 1 of Man Dem. Bye-bye, viewer.
Peace.
I was on the block with the Man Dem. Out in the ends with the Man Dem. Where'd you go with the Man Dem? Live life with the Man Dem.